We are coming down to the stretch of the NBA season. And with that in mind, teams are getting into full gear. They're getting prepped for playoffs. The bad teams are kind of getting whittled out at this point. But we have some teams that we really need to keep an eye on over the next month or so to see if they can be a serious playoff contender, even make a deep run, or at least just be a fun team to watch in the playoffs. So today I've got 5 teams that I want to talk about that I think are really teams that you need to keep your eye on throughout the rest of this NBA season. They're not the highest in the standings, they're not the lowest in the standings, but they have room to make pace and really secure their spot in the NBA playoffs and maybe get a serious push towards a serious championship contention, maybe at least making the conference finals. I mean, last year alone, we saw 2 play-in teams make the conference finals, one of which, the 8 seed, winning and going ahead in the NBA finals, and it didn't go well for them there, but they made a great run. And we've seen a lot of these teams that I'm going to be talking about make previous runs to the conference finals or further. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that here again. The first team we're going to talk about is that same 8 seed that made it to the NBA Finals just a season ago in the Miami Heat. Jimmy Butler came out to NBA Media Day, came out as Emo Jimmy. And Emo Jimmy said he dressed that way and he went in like that because that is how he felt. He was in his feelings that he was going to do whatever it took to get to the NBA Finals and win it this time. He said that. He said, if we're going to find a way back. It's probably not going to be pretty, but we'll find a way back somehow and we'll make our run. I'm not saying that the Miami Heat are going to win or even make the NBA Finals, but they're definitely at least going to make things interesting. More interesting than they really look like right now. I mean, most of the season they've been just a mediocre team, a little bit above average. They've dealt with plenty of injuries. Bam Adebayo has really been the only star. Duncan Robinson has gotten a little bit more consistent and definitely playing a lot better ball in the regular season this year than he was last year, since he wasn't even really getting minutes, which is cool to see for Duncan. I like the addition of Terry Rozier, and I still think that is a great piece for them. It's always nice to add another 20-point per game score, and though he's not doing that with the Miami Heat because he's not the man like he was in Charlotte with LaMelo being out most of the time, it's still a big change for them. It's something they're going to work on and really mesh together over the next little bit of the season and really get prepped for playoff time, and because that's what the Heat culture is all about. Jimmy has been coasting this season. I think that is very fair to say. But he really hasn't been playing the top ball that we saw in the playoff run just a season ago. And I don't think that's by mistake. I think Jimmy knows what he's doing. We see a lot of these older teams do that. We've seen LeBron do it for years now. Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat have said recently, it's time. And after some big wins this week, after going 8-2 over the last 10 games, with big wins against the Magic, the Bucks, the 76ers, the Pelicans, and then Jimmy gets suspended, and they still beat the Kings without Jimmy, Thomas Bryant, Nikola Jovic, Terry Rozier, and Tyler Hero. They beat the Sacramento Kings, and they beat them quite handily, actually. Jaime Jaquez led the way. Bam Adebayo did his thing as he always does. The Kings aren't no joke either, and to beat the Magic, who were a decent team, been sitting around that 6th seed for a while now in the East. The Bucks, we know what the Bucks are capable of. The Sixers have been up there. The Pelicans are a 5 seed right now in the West, which is a crazy packed West. Their only losses in that 10-game stretch came to the Boston Celtics, who they played last year in the conference finals, and the Denver Nuggets, who of course they lost to in the NBA final. So this team is poised to make a run, and I think they're going to do just that again. Moving on to our second team is the Sacramento Kings that were just mentioned. The Sacramento Kings were the talk of the town last season because it was the first time in how long that the Kings made the playoffs. Of course, they lost in 7 to Steph Curry's ridiculousness. That was a great run, and this team is really putting it together again. Though they're not the 2 or 3 seed anymore, they're sitting right now currently at the 6th seed, which isn't bad considering the talent that's in the West right now. You got to think, the Suns are under them, the Mavericks are under them, the Lakers and the Warriors are all under them still. This is just a stacked West. The Kings are still a real threat. Don't believe that. maybe not a championship contender, maybe not a serious championship contender, but they could make someone hurt in the first round of the playoffs. I absolutely believe that. De'Aaron is averaging 27 and 6 to go with 2 steals per game. And Domantas Sabonis is having a monster year with 20 points per game, 13 boards, and 8 assists for the big fella. That's crazy. Keegan Murray is playing some great defense this year and still shooting the 3 ball efficiently. Malik Monk is still the best 6th man off the bench for the Kings. The Kings have quality pieces. They still have Davion Mitchell to come play some lockdown perimeter defense. This team is still a good team and a threat, and I just want to see what they can do. They've kind of been up and down a lot this season. They really haven't found a big streak of any kind when it comes to wins. They, win 2 games, they lose 2 games. And if you look no further than this last month of February, that's exactly what happened. But they had quality wins and quality losses to go with it. You just never really know what you're going to get from the Kings. I expect them to get a little bit more consistent come playoffs time. Everybody's healthy, so they should be looking really good. And I'm excited to see what they can do with a year of experience in a playoff series, a Game 7 under their belt. I think they could make some noise. The third team is going to take us down to Texas in the city of Dallas. The Mavericks, who are superstar studded with the duo of Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. We know that. But now they have finally made some pieces to add some quality NBA players around this duo. They added PJ Washington, and they added Daniel Gafford. Daniel Gafford's only getting a few minutes a game. Okay, I think Jason Kidd really needs to solidify that big man rotation. PJ Washington starting at the 4, next to Derek Lively at the 5 now. And it's okay. Like, PJ Washington's a good player, but he has not been his best with the Dallas Mavericks. Obviously, he doesn't get as many touches. His shooting splits just aren't very good either. Does he need to mesh more? I don't know. I don't really know what his problem is yet. PJ in the 9 games with the Mavericks is averaging 11.5 and 5 boards on 43, 28, and 67% splits. All career lows for PJ. Obviously, it's only a 9-game span. We don't really know. It's a sample size, right? Jason Kidd is still figuring things out. Dwight Powell is racking up DNPs now, which he was averaging 23 minutes a game up until now. Obviously, Maxi Kleber was out a lot of the year as well, and so that was a big factor. Derek Lively's been in and out of the lineup. They have to figure out that big man rotation. Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic are still going to be doing their thing, probably combining for 80 points a night like they do. Okay, they're ridiculous. They are ridiculous. And we've seen this Luka team without Kyrie Irving go on a run, though they had Jalen Brunson, who wasn't the Jalen Brunson he is now, mind you, but they had a Jalen Brunson. They had Kristaps Porzingis, was also having a career worst, but you know what? They had some pieces. They made a Western Conference Finals run that surprised everyone. It included some step-back game winners from Luka, but I think that magic could still be here, especially when you add Kyrie Irving into the mix. Tim Hardaway's having a good season, and you add some quality big men such as Derek Lively, PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, Maxi Kleber has a good year. I think this team could really still be a big threat and somebody you don't really want to mess with come playoff time. We're moving on to the Lakers in Los Angeles. The Lakers are another team to keep an eye on. How could you not keep an eye on LeBron James and Anthony Davis when they are healthy, man? This is the first time we've seen this team super healthy throughout the whole season. And it's still not leading to many wins, which is very surprising. I mean, last year they passed the buck on Pat Bev and Russell Westbrook, and they're about the same spot they were in last year. Trade deadline, they didn't do anything this time around, but they've been playing really good ball as of late. And it's not just Anthony Davis, it's not just LeBron James, it's the role players. D'Angelo Russell is having a great stretch right now, shooting the ball really well. And I think a lot of that, and I'm not just saying for D'Lo, but I'm saying for the entire Lakers organization, the entire rotation, their names have been in trade rumors since they got there. Okay, it is nice to feel free to play basketball, to not have to worry about ending up in Charlotte next week or Atlanta for DeJounte Murray. This is the Lakers team. It is time for a playoff stretch, and the Lakers are going to seem poised to do that. They got blown out by the Warriors to start the post All-Star game stretch, but they've looked very good since then, including a 21-point comeback in the fourth quarter, crosstown rival Clippers. I mean, that was amazing. That was amazing. They're playing some great ball. This is a team to keep an eye on for sure. No doubt. No doubt. I mean, look just no further than last year, right? They were barely in the playoff most of the season. They had to win the play-in. They won their first game to make it. They got the 7 seed. They whooped the Grizzlies in, 4, maybe 5? I can't remember off the top of my head. And then they beat the Warriors in a fun series. And then they went to Denver and were just kind of out of gas. So I could definitely see another conference finals run when you have LeBron James, when you have Anthony Davis, when your role players are playing the game well. It's definitely possible. So keep your eyes on the LA Lakers, and let's go to team number 5. And team number 5 should come at no shock at all. That is the Golden State Warriors. They're playing really good basketball as of late. Let's not talk about the 50-point game to the Celtics. Okay, we're just not going to talk about that. But since the All-Star break, besides that 50-point loss to the Boston Celtics, they have looked really, really good. They're playing ball at a really high rate. They're shooting the ball really well. Klay Thompson has found his role and settled into it very, very well. He's doing a great job coming off the bench. He's brought his shooting percentage from 3 back up to over 40% if you just look at the past 10 games or so. All his shooting splits are up. Everything looks a lot better. His total scoring is up there. His defense, he looks a little bit more confident and comfortable, which is really good, which is what this Warriors team needs. Steph Curry's still doing his thing. Again, besides the 0 for 9 against the Boston Celtics. Draymond Green, since he's been back from suspension, has played really well himself. Whether it's the leadership qualities, whether it's his defense, which has been amazing. His 3-point percentage is up as well since he's come back from suspension. So this team is playing really well. Let's not even forget about how well Jonathan Kuminga's playing. Moses Moody's doing his role. And Podemski, he earned a starting role for a reason. And he's fulfilling it. He's playing really good ball. And I like this team a lot, man. I think they can make a run to the conference finals. Again, if you want to talk about finals favorites, I've still got the Denver Nuggets and I've still got the Boston Celtics. These 5 teams are still going to be very fun to watch for the playoff stretch because they're in it, man. They're determined. Also, if I could add an honorable mention, I would add the Oklahoma City Thunder because Shea said they are not going to finish 2 in the West. They're going to finish top 2 and not 2, bro. Super excited for the rest of this season. Let me know who you're going to be watching the rest of the season and who you have in the conference finals on both sides. I'll be in the comments, bro.